As we get closer day by day to the much overdue removal of Donald Trump, we have to start seriously addressing the question of how to deprogram nearly 75 million Trumpists. This is not a trivial matter. This is not easy to do. I've said before, Trump will go, but the Trumpists will still be here. The Trumpism that has become their sort of guiding, I don't want to say guiding principles because it's not very principled, but their guiding ideology, that will be here. So how do we do it? How do we deprogram these people? A retail strategy of convincing individuals that their views are misguided is just too time consuming. I had this caller to my show last week who said, David, I did it. I deprogrammed one Trumpist. And I said, yeah, well, how long did it take? And the guy said it took 3 hours. So as you can see, 3 hours times 75 million, that's a problem. All right. It's easy and popular to say education's the solution. We have to improve education. Well, we do, but that's not going to help people already out of school. There's no doubt that teaching critical thinking, media literacy, epistemology, starting when kids are 10, 11, 12, that would preemptively insulate a lot of Americans from being brought into these cult mentalities. But we're talking about 75 million people, mostly who are already out of school. So fixing education won't fix them. So what do? If you research cults, you very quickly learn that forcibly removing people is not recommended. It rarely works. You need to get people to a place where they choose to leave the cult voluntarily. What we do know is that Socratic methods of questioning, asking people, what attracted you to the cult? What was going on in your life when you don't want to necessarily use the word cult here, but when you started to say, hey, I think Trump has something for me. What was going on in your life? What attracted you to it? How would you know if the leader was lying? What would it mean to you if you realized that the leader was misleading you? How would you react? That type of Socratic interviewing and questioning can be useful. But again, we are talking small scale cults. Here we are dealing with 75 million people who are regularly being programmed by Fox News and Rush Limbaugh and the Republican Party and others, and they're being pulled further into the cult. So it's not looking great so far. One idea is that their beliefs and delusions have to have consequences that they link to their beliefs. And that last part is very key. Obviously, Trump cultism has led to more coronavirus deaths than we needed to have. We are worse off as far as healthcare goes. Our foreign policy is materially worse because of Trumpism and the Trump cult and Trump. So there are consequences to Trumpism, but your average cultist will never link the consequences to their cult leader, in this case, Donald Trump. So one idea is actually seeing and feeling the consequences of their beliefs could be a start. But how do you do that? How you do it when we don't even have agreement about the basic facts is a real problem. And this, as you can probably tell, is such an overwhelming Herculean task that it's likely going to require multiple components and a sort of full court press approach. So education, yes, more education for young people, but that is going to deal with people who are mostly not yet voters. We need to do something about current cultists. Do you have to look at the FCC and look at what can and should be done from a regulatory standpoint in terms of media? Yeah, I guess so, but I don't think you're going to solve this problem by banning Fox News. And you run into some real problems with regard to suppression of speech when you do that. So I don't know how big of a part that's going to play. Another big part of this is we need to make it less appealing to be part of the cult. Lots of people get drawn into cults and conspiracy theories in the first place because they either find the cults and conspiracies better than the alternative of the real world, or because people are isolated and they get a feeling of belonging that's really tough to pull people out of. So part of this is making it less seductive to be part of the cult while recognizing the underlying concerns that people have. And that's what Trump, on purpose or accidentally, this is what Trump did do well in 2016 by tricking people. Trump bamboozled people by convincing them that he had the solutions to their problems. A fear that a lot of white voters had of losing a privileged status in society. Trump said he would take care of that. Immigrants as the reason that you aren't making more money. Trump said he would fix it. So part of the deprogramming has to be acknowledging people's concerns, but making them realize that they've been sold the wrong solutions. A really, really important aspect of this. And even if we do all of this, we have to realize that change is slow unless it's a completely authoritarian dystopia. If you consider that the start of this cult that we see today could have been the welfare queen stories of Ronald Reagan's presidency 35 years ago, and you understand that this has been 35 years in the making, it no longer is reasonable to think we're going to get out of it very quickly. It's going to take time. If you consider the start of the current Republican cultism to be the civil rights movement of the 1960s, then, if it took 50 years to get into this, 60 years to get into this, it's going to take a while to get out. One of the faster deprogrammings we've ever seen, or better said, maybe reprogrammings, was in China during the Cultural Revolution under Mao Zedong. It was a roughly 10-year period. The leftovers of capitalism were purged, and it was done brutally and quickly. And quickly still meant a decade. So what I want people to understand is this isn't going to happen overnight. The fastest reprogrammings have been brutal and horrifying, like the 10-year Cultural Revolution in China. The path will be very long, and it typically requires the type of commitment that 2, 4, and 6-year political terms, which is what we see in the House, White House, and Senate, 2, 4, and 6 years. That's not a timeline that incentivizes the difficult work that needs to be done. So send me your thoughts. Send me your ideas. This is going to be a very, very long fight, which it can start the day we decide it starts. I believe it has already started to some degree. Send me your thoughts. I'm on Twitter at Pakman. I want to let you know that our sponsor, Vincero Watches, is having a massive holiday sale on all of their products right now, and you can take advantage of it by going to davidpakman.com/watch. A brand new high quality wristwatch really is the perfect way to add something fresh to your style, whether it's for you or a gift for someone else. Vincero is a brand that has a serious dedication to the craft of watchmaking, which is really evident when you look closely at their watches. I wear Vincero watches myself. Lately, I've been wearing one from their Icon Automatic collection. It's the mesh matte black watch, and I love the sleek, minimalist design. Their watches are actually sold at a fair price. Their mission has always been to make a wristwatch from high-end materials, but one that everyday people can afford. And that's why they have over 25,000 five-star reviews, because you won't find a better made watch for this great of a price anywhere else. You can get big holiday discounts on all of their products right now and free shipping when you go to davidpakman.com/watch. I've put the link right underneath this video.